talk about mage class after a couple weeks in the game, returning from 20 years hiatus. So I think I would focus this short brief pet talk on two aspects. First, the mage damage, and second, the mage survival. So a brief intro to that is that what I have noticed, although in this view right here we have at least 2 mages, maybe even 3, but I have noticed in other qualities, so mage is pretty rare class, an unpopular class if you would say in modern terms, and there are true reasons to that. Like that kind of paladin may 1 or 2 shot mage if they are alone, then they just bubble, run away. Mage has ice block, but it has you cannot just run ice block and run and function normally. Mage has limitations to that. Well, you know. So first aspect of the survival, like these tattoo kind of illuminations you see around the character, these are very essential for the mage damage. You have to actually be able to read what is on the screen around me. These are specific to the mage class. Other classes have some kind of similar things, but they are specific. And you have to be able to read these markings because otherwise you are not able to do damage properly. If you are good at reading these markings, then let's say you are able to do good damage. Average good damage. But in addition to that, you should be able to read these buffs that are flashing in the upper right hand corner, and then time them well with your burst damage and so forth, along with simultaneously reading what is the markings on top of your character. Both. If you are able to do both readings perfectly, your kind of character gameplay mechanisms that are these flashy things around these spikes and these kind of shield looking tattoos that appear and disappear. Those are mage specific gameplay damage related things mostly. And then you have the buffs and procs, which you must be able to read both. Then you can do, if you can read both perfectly, then you can do, like, let's say, thankful damage. Then you can do thankful damage. And you might actually, in PvP environment, you might be able to get someone down in less than 15 seconds. Or manage to do that. Less than 15 seconds. And in order to do that, you have 1,000 buttons to press. 1,000 buttons. Different buttons. And by the way, I should have mentioned in the intro that this comes purely from the perspective of a frost mage. Like mage is the class that has only one function to do damage, and each of their talent trees are meant to do damage. So, but this is specific to the frost mage, these markings. And I would say frost mage has the most of these mage gameplay related things that you must be able to read properly. But I can't say yet since I have just played with frost mage after coming back from vanilla. I haven't tried other specs at all yet. So I might not know. But from at least, like I say, what comes to a frost mage. So that is about damage. You gotta to recap that you must be simultaneously reading the mage gameplay, indicators that are appearing, flashing around, and at the same time, you should be able to read the procs properly. Then you can do like a little bit above average damage. So that is about the damage aspect of a mage. And then the survival aspect. Well, mage survival is only based on cooldowns. Like when an epic kind of player comes along, I must immediately use some kind of cooldowns to be able to survive. And for that, I don't have only 1000 buttons, but 2000 buttons. 2000 buttons related to different tricks of survival. Them on cooldown. But that being said, what I mean here is that mage is probably the most vulnerable class to any melee or physical damage that these other characters may do. And has the lowest amount of health and so forth. So, like what I said earlier, for example, compared to Paladin, mage has ice block that it makes it immune to damage. But then you cannot move while ice block, and if you use talents, you can move very, very slowly. And if you want to use even more talents, then it is not anymore immune to damage. It is just 70% reduction in damage. So, those limitations in mind. It's not like Paladin bubble, that the Paladin can just bubble and run away normally, and do damage normally while in the bubble and heal themselves. But I'm glad that mages have been given these like, for example, mage heals while itself when inside the ice block, and heals inside when this uses this ice cold replace ability for ice block if you use talents for it. I have now tried both, and I have come to the conclusion that ice cold has function and the just immovable iceberg caps. But that's about it. Still, mage is very fragile, so in summary, I would say that the function of a mage, or the occasion and situation how mage must be played, is that you always have to be sneaky in the background, sneaky in the distance. Mage is like a rogue, but in the distance, in a way. Because if you are not in the distance, you are not able to fulfill that function you have. That's about it. Because mage doesn't have this kind of permanent pets that they can command, and pets that would have permanent pets that would have abilities, or mage doesn't have dots, which just keep making damage over time, like Warlock has. Warlock has these all kind of pets that can just follow you over distance and do their things. So I'm a little bit yet questioning the mage survival aspect. If Blizzard has appropriately taken it into account. Because that invisible, it has quite a long cooldown. I mean, I would wish it would have like 10 seconds cooldown. Then we would talk about like mage more like probably be able to fulfill its sneaky function as the caster in the distance. Because roach stealth doesn't have cooldown. They can be stealth, they can be sneaky, they can vanish. They just have to be out of combat, then they can vanish freely. But those thoughts, and I have yet to. I first thought about that I would try the Blizzard Storm that surrounds the mage as a defensive ability, but I was just like, I was not even AD yet. I tried it, and I was dying anyway, so it didn't help really. But now I'm gonna try it again, the Blizzard Storm, with this, combined with this ice cold. It might give some PvP situations to be handy in 1 versus 1 situations. So at least that would make some characters like roaches and hunters to avoid the close distance of a mage, or at least the close distance wouldn't be completely useless for the mage, because the Blizzard Storm around the mage would do some damage. So this just spontaneous thoughts about the aspects of a mage, what comes to its survival and damage dealing. Like, for example, in this PvP environment, and I'm talking mostly about PvP here, because that is what makes people to choose characters, I would say, in a sense. Or that I'm just talking about within the context of PvP, that is relevant to me. So, I mean, mage is quite rare, what I have noticed in this about hundreds of battlegrounds I have done so far. Mage is quite a rare class because it doesn't easily do good damage. You have to just time all the procs and the game play perfectly, and you have to be in the distance free to cast. But in PvP you are not so often completely free to cast. At least if you are not in this kind of a raid environment where you are with others. I mostly mean like 1 versus 1 situations. And so forth. They actually capped the tower again, right? That's that was very sneaky of this Havoc Demon Hunter. Like I've noticed that, for example, hunters, they have these escape abilities. They have the deflect where they can run with it, and they can jump long distances and fly around. This is based on what I have observed. So these two things combined, like the damage dealing by a mage, you have to time everything perfectly, and then you are very fragile in terms of survival. If some other class gets to your skin, you are down very fast, very easily. And those both aspects combined, it means that mage is kind of the skill cap to play mage well, it's kind of high. You have to be good in order to be able to play mage well, I would say. So that being said, I'm not surprised that it's not so popular class. So those are basic observations so far, with the item level of about 650 to 670. And these guys cannot actually come out of the I thought they would reset as well. I don't know if they just appear again. Let's see. There, for example, this mage, they have just used character boost to edit. They don't have any other specific gear. Oh, that was close. Do we have a tank? Seems like we don't. So this is all probably random whether we are able to make it or not. Now the mage runs out, it resets. Yeah, mostly these players like are greens here. No, oh well, this one is not, but this mage here probably in greens. Oh well, this one is not. This one was in greens. They just used character boost and this one up. You use character boost, you come along with that gear. So, but still, mage along with a good roach. That is a great combo. Also, priest and rogue is really great combo. beasts, I was a relentless gladiator along with the rogue back in the day. So now this mage got the track. These are down dead. Yep. Not good. For this you need a good tank and a good healer, and you can do it. And a roach and mages, for example, alone can get all the towers and graveyards as a couple. Yeah, just a few thoughts about the gameplay so far. Oops. Good funny hunter in that Netherine relic. Oh, what is happening here? Can we do it? Yeah. Only those down there. Yeah. Can scroll this. Yeah, but here we go. Here we see. Couple persons doing 1 million damage and 1 billion damage.